It was found that the average person has 60,000 thoughts per day. Of those thousands of thoughts, 80% are negative and 95% are exactly the same repetitive thoughts as the day before. That was a quote from an article published by the National Science Foundation. Now, if 95% of a person's thoughts are the same every day, that means 95% of their day is exactly the same as the day before, leading to the same thoughts every day, same feelings every day, same emotions every day, same habits, limiting beliefs, impulsive reactions, and excuses. Over time, it just becomes so draining because it's like having an enemy follow you around all day long, punching on you, giving you face shots, body shots, etc. Only problem is you fighting against yourself. If 80% of your thoughts are negative and 20% are positive, that 80% will just cancel out the 20%. And that's really no way for any human being to live. You're not a robot. So don't allow yourself to get stuck in this stupid mindset of, oh, I'm just keeping it real. That's just how I am. No, you've been conditioned into believing that's just how you are. But you don't even realize it because you've been manipulated and locked into a mental prison. You cannot see a way out of a challenge if you're looking at it every day from the same level of mind, emotions, thoughts, and feelings of the past. Dr. Joe Dispenza. What he's saying is, if you're constantly in the state of negative thoughts, feelings, and emotions, over time, this will become your personality. And you won't have the ability to see opportunities, even if they're right in your face, because you see through your eyes, but your eyes see through your perception. Also, we have this thing called the reticular activating system, RAS for short. And your RAS pretty much magnifies whatever you give the majority of your attention to. This is why you'll see a person who's always angry find the smallest reasons to be angry. This is also why you can have two people experience the same thing, but they'll give you two complete different stories. It isn't a matter of one of them telling the truth and the other one was lying. It's the fact that they perceived it based on what they gave most of their attention to. Your beliefs become your thoughts become your words become your actions become your habits become your values become your destiny. That was a quote from Mahatma Gandhi. And now that we have an understanding of how our thoughts, feelings, and emotions have a drastic effect on our everyday lives, let's jump into some practical steps on how to change it. First things first is to become conscious of your negative thoughts and emotions. So take a pen and a piece of paper out, draw a line down the middle. On one side, you want to write out your thoughts and emotions that aren't serving you. Then on the other side, we want to replace those negative thoughts and emotions with ones that would serve you. So if you're someone who's always angry, what's a better emotion that you can feel? If you're always worrying, how could you stop worrying? What's another thought that you can have other than worrying? The key here is to become conscious of your unconscious thoughts and emotions. Let's say you're always waking up in the middle of the night, thinking about how behind you are on your bills. This may make you feel like a failure, stressed, and next thing you know, you're having a drink. Okay, now that you become aware of those late night negative thoughts waking you up, causing you to drink, what we want to do now is create a new trigger, a new habit that actually disrupts the negative emotion and the negative pattern. For instance, for myself, let's say I had a negative thought about work that I was doing. One of my mantras that I always go to is, remember who the fuck you are. And I literally say it to myself or out loud because it gives me energy. It gives me that energy like, yo, remember who the fuck you are. You feel me? And it actually breaks the pattern of the negative emotion, of the negative thought. Sometimes you have to be your biggest cheerleader for yourself when you have no one else to be in your ear and to cheer you on. And that's what this mantra should be, to help you break that negative thought loop. Between stimulus and response lies a space. In that space lies our freedom and power to choose a response. In our response lies our growth and our freedom. Viktor Frankl. So next time you had a negative emotion, you want to use it as a trigger to a more productive action. Remember, between stimulus and response is our ability to choose. So what we're actually doing here is becoming more conscious, becoming more aware Most guys are just being pulled by their emotions, pulled by their environment, pulled by all this stimulus that they're not conscious of what they're doing. They're not thinking, they're not making a decision. They're just being controlled by outside stimulus. Once you become conscious of these emotions, once you become aware of your weaknesses, self aware, now you can have a plan of action. You know how to attack your weaknesses. You know how to attack the problem. You know how to deal with it. Like for myself, as an example, I know that I have an obsessive personality, right? So, which is why I don't deal with hard liquor. I don't drink hard liquor because I know if I did, once I got into certain situations, that would be one thing that I would fall deeply into. So I try to take that obsessive personality and utilize it for my own benefit. But that's a decision that I had to make beforehand. You see the difference? Some people are being pulled by stimulus, being pulled by their emotions because they have not made a decision to become more self aware and put in place certain habits. Let's say you're someone who gets nervous every time you walk inside a room full of people. After really doing some searching and becoming more aware, self aware, you realize that when you were a kid, your teacher called you up in front of the room and embarrassed you in front of your classroom. Now that you have this awareness of self, you can create a new trigger. And let's say every time you walked inside a room full of people, you smiled and said hello to everyone. What's going to happen in that situation is you literally smiling when you walk inside that room is going to reinforce on your subconscious mind, right? Because the subconscious mind, the language of the subconscious mind is emotion, right? That's why if you think back to any experience that you have in your life, the ones that are the most memorable are the ones that have emotion attached to them, right? When you lost someone in your family before, or maybe if you had a child that was born, or you remember certain situations when you may have been in love with a girl or anything like that. Anything that deals with emotion is reinforced on your subconscious mind. So, with our example, you walk inside the room, you smile, you say hello to everyone. That will become the new default mode in your brain and in your subconscious mind. All right, so far we got becoming aware of our negative thoughts and emotions. I gave you a exercise for that where you become aware of your negative thoughts and emotions, you write them down, and you write down the ones that you need to have in order to serve you, in order to serve your goals. Next was we want to create a new habit loop trigger, something to pattern or interrupt the negative thought or emotion that you're having. All right, and lastly, next is repetition. Repetition, repetition, repetition. Why do we want to have repetition? Because repetition is what creates lasting change. Repetition is what creates new habits, right? And what we're doing is we're creating a new habit, thought loops, and triggers so that over time it becomes a new identity. It becomes a new character. And it's just something that you just do on autopilot. It's just regular to you. You understand what I'm saying? And before you know it, like I said, when it's emotion and back behind the action, it creates lasting change, right? So create repetition, do it over and over again, and before you know it, it's just going to be regular to you, and then boom, everything's changed. I hope this video's helped. Let me know if there's anything that you feel like I could have touched on more. If there's something that you want me to expand on in the next video, let me know. Like, subscribe, and until next time, stay true.